Hi, I'm Matt. I don't know if you can see me or not, but I'm in a basement, a foreclosed house, and it's dark down here. There's no electricity. But this is what's called, this basement wall is bowing in, by the way, first of all. Let's start with that. You can see, I think, that it's bowing there. So this is a block foundation. This house is probably built in the 20s. I grew up in this neighborhood. So all these houses were built in the 20s and 30s. So this is called a pilaster. And they put them on these long walls. This is a long wall that goes from the front of the house to the back. And it's usually these long walls that bow inward on these old homes. There's clay soil around here. The clay is like a sponge. It gets wet and it expands and it pushes in on these basement walls. It's a common issue. These pilasters are meant to stiffen them. Telltale sign on these that the wall's bowing in, and if you don't notice the bow, is the crack. As it bows in, it cracks. Horizontal crack. Typically several feet long. This one's been patched, so it's not so noticeable. You can see the mortar joint there is huge compared to the original one, much smaller. Huge. Let me stick my finger in there just so you can see the difference. So anyway. So these pilasters, a lot of time you would think they're integral to the wall, built into the wall. It goes into the wall. But I've seen them where the pilaster starts to pop off of there, and I actually pulled it and just yanked it off, and it was just stuck on the wall with mortar. And I was at a seminar one time, and there was a structural engineer speaking, and I asked him about it. I go, what's up with that? That doesn't seem like it would do any good to me, so why would they do something so silly? So we were talking in the back when they had one of those buffets set up and there were some empty pop cans sitting there. So he took he goes, here's why. He took 3 empty pop cans and stacked them on top of each other, and he said, knock them over with your finger. So I took my finger and I knocked them over real easily. Then he stacked them back up and he put his hand on the top one. And he put a little pressure on it, maybe 10 or 15 pounds. And he said, now knock it over. And of course, it took a lot more force to knock it over, right? Because it was loaded, he said. It was loaded at the top. So this pilaster here, as you can see, is not loaded. It stops before it gets to the wood structure, the floor joists. So there's nothing sitting on the top, so it's not loaded. So it probably doesn't do that much good. But as the engineer explained to me, if it was loaded at the top, if this pilaster went all the way to the top and it had some weight sitting on it, it probably would have helped a lot more in keeping this wall straight. But ultimately, it's the soil outside. It's the clay soil. It's the age of the building. This house unfortunately is probably a tear down. This area has deteriorated enough that this probably isn't worth fixing. So that's it. There's my feet. Bye.